You read the title correctly. We have some good news that happened to another team that's going to affect the Miami Dolphins and Jonah Savaiinaea. And I got some other tidbits of information. So we got a full video today. Let's break it down. What is up, Finn fans? How is everyone doing on this Thursday? One more day, Friday, and we're getting close. We are getting so very close. Tuesday, the vets will be reporting for training camp. Wednesday, a week from yesterday, they will hit the field and then open for everyone next Saturday. Then we get training camp. You get my training camp videos. I got so much for you guys. It's going to be fantastic, and we're off and going, off and running. So let's jump into the title of the video, and then I have a bunch of information. Barry Jackson came out with an article with little tidbits of information and a lot of cool stuff that I want to go over. But the most important thing in the title of this video, the good news, or Miami Dolphins got good news about Jonah Savaiinaea, or Miami Dolphins got good news that could affect Jonah, whatever I titled it, this is what it is. Per Adam Schefter, the next big domino in the second round has fallen. 49ers second round pick Alfred Collins, the number 43 overall selection, reached an agreement tonight on a 4-year deal, $10.3 million that include over $9 million guaranteed, and is now expected to trigger multiple second round signings per sources. Until now, 30 of the 32 second round picks remained without a deal. Collins will have 88% of his deal guaranteed, a huge jump over the last year's number 43 overall pick, which is absolutely huge for the Dolphins and for every other team that has been sitting around waiting for the second round picks to sign and make it into camp, because Jonah was not there. He did not report on Tuesday because he does not have a contract to report. But having the 49ers and Alfred Collins coming to an agreement, obviously it's not a fully guaranteed contract, but it's 88% guaranteed, is a step in the right direction. Obviously, you had the 49ers and the Browns giving fully guaranteed contracts. Let me tell you essentially where this will all pan out, right? Because it's a big thing. Is a big thing, especially when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. So you have Carson Schwarzenegger, who got fully guaranteed. He was the first pick in the second round. You had Jaden Higgins, who got a fully guaranteed. He's the one who triggered this whole thing, was the second pick in the second round, and then no one else signed, right? So you have Nick Manwari, Quinshon Junkins, and then you have Jonah. And you have but Alfred Collins was taken, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks later. So you're probably looking at a same style of contract that Alfred Collins got, that the Dolphins are probably looking at Jonah like, okay, so this is what we're going to offer you. Maybe they'll offer him 90% of the contract guaranteed, not a full 100, but hopefully this is getting in the right direction, because again, you have guys like Tyler Shuck, number 40 overall, who was 2 picks before Alfred Collins, who's sitting around like, look, I am essentially your starter, right? Derek Carr's gone. You're expecting me. I need this, whatever. You know, pretty much all of the rookies from the second round have not signed. And there's some big names out there that need to sign in and help their team, like Tyler Shuck, like TJ Sanders, like Mason Taylor with the New York Jets. Will Johnson with the Cardinals, who's been doing very, very good. Irsay, the tackle with the Texans, that definitely bit him in the foot, giving their wide receiver fully guaranteed contract, Jaden Higgins. And now they're sitting there like, well, now we can't get our tackle in here because he wants fully guaranteed and we weren't looking. So there's a lot of players in this second round that are now probably going to get signed and going to, hopefully this is the domino. This essentially is the domino, which is fantastic. Again, hopefully the Dolphins can get this done, get Jonah in here so he can start having that. They essentially have a week, right? The vets will report on the 22nd. Essentially what this week is kind of getting them acclimated, getting them into their rooms. We've all seen Hard Knocks, how they get their own room and yada, yada. Get them all acclimated before the vets come in. So still got about a couple more days, 4 or 5 more days, get it done. So that is the good news. I wanted to start the video off with that good news because obviously that is the title of the video. Now, little tidbits of information, some about the media, talking about the Dolphins, some about the cornerback rankings, a lot of things that we're going to talk about. So this is per Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald. He said, among Air pundits, there's little conviction about the team heading into the start of training camp next Wednesday. Some are fed up after 25 years of mediocrity. Damien Woody describes the Dolphins offense as empty calories. They do a lot of eye candy, but ultimately means nothing. Nothing. When was the last time the Dolphins won a meaningful game? When was the last time Tua made plays out of structure? They don't have any of that. They don't play physical. They don't capture the line of scrimmage. When I look at this team, captains no longer on the roster. They need to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. My only pushbacks on Damien Woody, and again, if I was on the panel, I would say the last meaningful game that they won was against the Dallas Cowboys in 2023 when they clinched the division, clinched the playoff spot. But yes, I agree, 2024, they did nothing. When was the last time Tua made plays out of the structure? He does it all the time, right? Like, honestly, just watch film. It's plain and simple. I can give you the one that is the most heir apparent to me recently was in Buffalo last year when we were down 7. He evades the pocket, finds Jalen Waddle for the touchdown, essentially ties the game. Like, he does it. Does he do it enough? No. Is he that style of quarterback? No. I don't expect him to do it. But to say, when was the last time he did it? They don't do any of that. I don't agree with that. But they do play. They don't play physical. I agree with that 100%. ESPN Phil Yates laminated that this is a team whose football business is often mediocre. Mina Kimes said the defensive backfield is among the worst in the league, and the cornerback group is probably the worst in the league. Louis Riddick said on X, the Dolphins are the very definition of uncertainty going into 2025. Have zero idea what this team will look like, play like, come together like chemistry-wise. Zero. Fascinating to me is what he said. I couldn't agree more with Louis Riddick. We don't even know. Dolphin fans, even the guys who cover the Dolphins, like Omar Kelly, like Alan Poupard, like Barry Jackson, like David Furinez, like all of these guys, Isaiah Smalls, we don't know. We just don't know. He added on NFL Live that McDaniel has to make some adjustments. This team was not good enough. Bottom quarter of the league. Pass block win rate, run block win rate. Yeah. The offensive line was doo-doo butter. Booger McFarland also continues to put pressure on McDaniel. The offense is not the same. It's not going to start at the top. I'm going to start at the top with Mike McDaniel. We have a lot of credit when the offense hits the scheme. Boy, genius. He came out and was new and innovative. Now that the league has started to catch up with you, what exactly are you going to do? You have to become a more physical, need a bigger back. Nothing against Savaiinaea. It's not just Tua Tagovailoa. Mike McDaniel has to be more innovative as a play caller and a head coach. I agree 1,000%. They need to change it up. It can't just be one-dimensional. It can't just be speed, because at some point you're going to run out of gas. ESPN Ryan Clark said the issue is that even though the Dolphins dress up plays with pre-snap motion, other teams have figured out that once the ball once they snap the ball, they always end up in the same spot. What is the adjustment going to be? Give me something different post-snap than I've seen through your tenure, Mike McDaniel. This offense has to evolve. I agree 1,000%. Now, obviously, the offense is going to be the same because everything's already out there on film, so it's not going to be the same. But yes, 100%. He needs to change it up. It can't be motions and this and that because the film's out there. They already picked it up. It's like in 2008, we busted out the Wildcat. Everyone's like, whoa, what is this? 2009, shut it down. Wildcat was nothing. So they need to evolve, and Mike needs to pull out some more things and move it around. Now, you're not going to see that in training camp, and you're not going to see it in preseason. All right. And I will talk about what you should expect from training camp on my training camp preview. But you're not going to see you don't put that out there for your first week's opponent, even your first couple weeks opponents. You want to shock them. Then Barry talks about the cornerback position, which we all desperately need. The Dolphins will likely add a veteran cornerback at some point in the weeks ahead, with Rasul Douglas, Asante Samuel Jr., Stephon Gilmore, James Bradbury, and Mike Hilton the top options. They have maintained dialogue with Douglas, so they have been in constant contact with Rasul Douglas. Get it done. For now, Artie Burns and Kendall Sherfield remain the only additions who have played in the league. Some notes on Burns. The former Miami Hurricane and Miami Northwestern standout had 4 interceptions in his 4 years and 32 starts for Pittsburgh, but struggled badly at times with the Steelers after being drafted 26th overall in 2016. But after a year with Seattle, the 6-foot Burns had been pretty good in pass coverage in a limited role in the 3 years with Seattle, which includes some time on the Seattle Seahawks practice squad. They need to add a corner. Plain and simple. Now, I think we don't have much cap space, but they need to move things around and do what they need to do. Give Sealer his contract extension, give Brooks a contract extension, all of these extensions. And again, this isn't restructuring, it's giving extensions, which would then give us money to do things we need to do. But, if I had it my way, I go out and get Rasul Douglas and Stephon Gilmore, if anything. But if they can get Rasul Douglas, I'll feel slightly better about the secondary, even though we've all seen kind of what happened. He also talks about Warren Sharp, who, surprise, surprise, and a little behind the scenes, I am working on getting him on the channel to pick his brain. So we have a date selected. I will keep you updated on when he will come and have a chat. Soon, but I'm getting Warren Sharp on the channel to talk with him. If you missed it, NFL analytic guru Warren Sharp made a strong defense of Tua based on data on X in recent weeks. Among his points, Tua has been the league's 8th best quarterback when trailing in the second half, is the NFL's only quarterback to rank in the top 5 in EPA, and such rate each of the past 3 seasons, ranks second in yards per completion and completion rate over the past 3 seasons, and is second in completion rate on passes of 15 plus yards in the air. He noted that Tua, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson are the only quarterbacks with winning records each of the past 5 years, counting only games they started. Here's my thing on Tua. And I will talk about this in full detail when I go into my Tua's 2025 expectations. I think Tua is a good quarterback. I think he's above average, but his health is the biggest thing for me. It doesn't matter if all these stats were being thrown at and all this stuff. It doesn't matter at the end of the day if he cannot stay on the field. Also, when push comes to shove, there are some games where he kind of falls on his face. Now, quarterbacks are going to do that. If you expect a quarterback to have 17 perfect games, you're oblivious to how the NFL actually works. But it seems like Tua has those games where he trips up a little bit when we need him not to. Prime example last year against the Houston Texans, throwing 3 interceptions. 2 of them, he was baited. The defense baited him badly with the safety coming down and picked him off twice. And we lost that game by 8 points. And what hurt so much about that game was we got the ball, we're down by 8. Hey, we're still moving on them. We're still scoring even though our right tackle is doo-doo butter. And first play, he throws an interception. And, you're throwing a 50-50 ball, which to me was a little underthrown to a 5'11" wide receiver with bad wrists. It's just, that shouldn't have been the first throw. Plain and simple. So there's games where he comes out and he plays fantastic. Against Buffalo in Buffalo last year, he had a great game. We lost off of a 61-yard field goal. Some Bill fans like to throw that in my face. I laugh because it's like, yeah, you won. You beat the Dolphins on a 61-yard field goal. Like, congratulations. But then he has those games, so he needs to be more consistent when it comes to the big games that we need him. And he needs to stay healthy. But I'll go way more into detail on my expectations. I'm going to give you stats and everything when we talk about that, which is like that 2-week break before, after preseason, the last preseason game, and then the start of the season. We get like 2 weeks of no training camp. That's where you get all the season content from me. Per bookies.com, the Dolphins have the 5th easiest schedule this season with a combined opponents win percentage of 47.4 last season and an average projected opponent win total of 8.2. ESPN, BetGM, and other websites have the Dolphins ranked between 21st and 26th in Super Bowl odds. Strength of schedule means nothing. I've talked about that time and time again. There's times where we started the season with the hardest strength of schedule, and then we ended with the easiest. Means nothing. There has been a clear progress in eliminating the tardiness and lack of discipline that were the issues last season. McDaniel had made it clear it won't be tolerated. Asked about McDaniel's message, cornerback Cater Cohu said, "We kind of need to get a new identity. There's not going to be a lot of slack. Everyone has to be on their bleep." And what about the soft label that has stuck with the team? We're not soft, Cater Cohu says. We just have to win more games, win the big one. Oh, hold on. That's where this pops in. I love hearing it, Cater. I love hearing it from all the players and everything about the culture and about this and that. I love it. But like I said, my saying for 2025 is show me. Show me you can do it. Links below if you want to grab yourself a shirt. And then finally, he says, quick stuff from new guard James Daniels. He's been impressed watching second-year linebacker Chop. Chop has a lot of stuff in his bag. The big difference in the culture between the Steelers, where he last played in Miami, music is always played in the building here, he said. He said, rookie guard Jonah is always texting me, always texting other players, asking for advice. It's not as easy offense. I'm proud of his development. But he also remained unsigned because second-round picks, yada, yada. We already talked about that. And that's the biggest difference, right? Pittsburgh, he said the biggest difference between Pittsburgh and Miami is music is always being played in the building here. Don't play music in the building. I know, it's like, oh, who gives a crap? But you want to change that culture. You want to change how you're perceived and the toughness and everything. Maybe take some pointers from Mike Tomlin. Take some pointers from the Pittsburgh Steelers, who has playoff wins in the past 20-something years, who have Super Bowl wins in the past 20-something years. Get rid of the ping pong table. Get rid of all these things, Make it about football. Make it about winning and the toughness and having each other's backs and building it that way. We'll see. Again, show me. That's what it's all about. But comment below. What is your thoughts on the move now with the 49ers locking up Alfred Collins? Do you think this is a domino effect and we will see Jonah get signed and be put into camp? What's your thoughts on the toughness and all the stuff talking about? I prefer the Dolphins being looked past, right? Because after 2023, everyone's like, Miami, if they can do this, this, and that, it's going to be great. In 2024, we fell on our face. There's always those teams that everyone expects to not do anything that does something. And there's always the teams that everyone expects to do everything, doesn't do anything. I prefer to be looked past. You comment below. Let me know. Do you prefer to be looked past, or do you prefer more respect in the mainstream media and everything? You got to earn it, though, at the end of the day. So comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Tomorrow, you're getting a video Saturday as well from me, just so you know. Tomorrow, I want to go over, because today I think is the last day that ESPN puts out the article where the scouts and all these people rank top 10 of each position. Tomorrow I'm going to go over them all and see how many Dolphins made their list, and then Saturday I'm going to do the film breakdown of Zach Wilson and see what we might get as a backup quarterback. But other than that, I will see you tomorrow. Like usual, stay classy. FN's out.